If you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know that I don't stray away from how much I hate how American broadcasters cover my beautiful sports. Back in 2021, I made a video about when ESPN decided it'd be a wonderful idea to add to their commentary team a hockey commentator.
Steve Cangelosi is one of the worst commentators I have ever had to listen to in my entire 20 years of living.
Then in 2023, during the Asian Cup, CBS Golazo had a team of pundits debating on whether or not Iraq's group win versus Japan was the biggest in their history, because apparently no one bothered doing the most basic research on the tournament. I made a video about this too, and fun fact, CBS Golazo definitely saw it, and still probably do not like me. Now, has anything changed since? No, not really. Outside of the Prem and kinda Serie A, we're still in hell.
Tonight against Paraguay. How do you like that matchup?
I do think it's going to be a lower scoring match that we see. Under 2.5 goals is my favorite way to bet this. I do think the Americans prevail, so you can do a little USA money line, under 2.5 goal parlay, but Paraguay specifically likes to muck it up. We know when these two teams last met, things got very physical.
Thing is, ESPN and some of CBS's nonsense don't even come close to the pure bullshit that Fox Sports pulls on a day-to-day basis that sends this sport back in our country at least 30 years. In summer 2024, everyone was watching an absolute classic in Turkey vs. Georgia. Well, everyone besides Americans, because Fox was instead showing bass fishing. Back in 2022, when Qatar was being rightfully criticized for all its human rights abuses, Fox's coverage decided to ignore it entirely. Hell, on opening day, they pretty much turned into Qatari state-run media. Then came all the nonsense that's happened so far with Fox's coverage of the 2026 tournament. Months before any ball was kicked, FIFA implemented mandatory hydration breaks, which was a blatant excuse to allow broadcasters like Fox to insert commercials anywhere they possibly could. A lot of people were angry about this and feared that commercial breaks would lead fans to miss some of the action. And lo and behold, it happened. During the opening game. Fox's greed shows in many different ways though. For example, they always advertise the game 2 hours before it actually starts, and deliberately leave out that fact. When some red cards were given out during Mexico vs South Africa, Fox decided to show this graphic right under the scoreboard. Now, I understand this is a way to educate newcomers into the sport, but you don't need to clutter up and make the score bug look ugly as hell to do it. Like, if I remember correctly, ESPN score bug would from time to time show that one team is down to 10 men, and then slide that graphic back up so then everything doesn't look like a complete mess. Also, by the way, it's also the commentators' jobs to tell people how many players are on the pitch and why that's the case. You know, there's different things here. We do not need this to look like a Japanese commercial. But who am I to expect Fox of all broadcasters to understand basic visuals? During one of their pre-game shows, Fox displayed this dreamlike scenario of the US winning the World Cup using this ugly-ass AI.
Fox, what? Fox, what in the hell is this? Fox. Oh my, no.
Also, quite a nitpick here, but why is the main group of pundits in an empty stadium? You guys are exploiting your viewers for every single cent, and you mean to tell me you can't come up with literally anything better? Like, NASCAR could do better, and Fox is giving them like a 16th of the money that you're providing. By the way, on commentary for the opening game was the great Ian Darke, an Englishman who is beloved in the States for his many iconic calls throughout our history. Next to him in color commentary is Landon Donovan, who gave us such thought-provoking comments during the Mexico-South Africa game like, "It's bad that South Africa has allowed an early goal. They should try to avoid losing by 3 to 5 goals. Other than giving the ball away, South Africa has been quite good." I would rather much listen to Steve Cangelosi commentate the World Cup final than hear any of Landon Donovan's boring-ass nothing statements. Why the fuck is he on the opening match? Why the fuck is he paired with Ian Darke? You know what? While we're on the topic of commentary, I fucking hate John Strong. If he was one of the guys that just so happened to be on the commentary team, that's fine. It's whatever. But it's the fact that he is the main fucking commentator for Fox Sports. He's calling the majority of the big games, and his non-stop shouting should not be anywhere near a semifinal, let alone the fucking final itself. When he's in the booth, his volume is pretty much the same throughout the entire broadcast. It just dilutes all the actual meaningful moments. And I am so tired of so many good-ass games being ruined when there are far better commentators on the team, including Ian Dark, that do a much better job than this hockey-ass motherfucker. Hi, it's me about a week and a half later. I wanted to add a couple other things now that I've subjected myself to even more of these horrors. Fox pundits do a really good job at covering players, and by players, I mean like 5 of them. Mbappe, Messi, Ronaldo, Yamal, Haaland, you know, the ones that are just trending, popular, you know, that's kind of the thing. That's the thing with American media just in general. But it's just very disappointing. I mean, we've seen rising stars like Jan Diomande emerge. We've seen his story about his sister and everything, and how heartbreaking that is, and how he lives for her. We've seen some iconic moments like Mexico's save, but nah, fuck you. Here's the 20th conversation about whether this will finally be Ronaldo's year. Thing is, this is nothing new. Fox all the way back in 2018 was saying shit like, get ready for Messi and co to play Nigeria. Watch as Messi dribbles around all these Nigerians. Who are these Nigerians? We don't know because we didn't do any research on them. It's kind of crazy how the World Cup is just happening. Like, almost 4 years of qualifiers and such, and we're actually here. I know some of y'all are planning to fly to North America to see some of those games, and I also know that some of you fools will be using the airport Wi-Fi to get around without protection. I mean, listen, okay? Are you trying to get your information stolen? Stop that. Use Surfshark VPN today. Surfshark uses humanized privacy and security solutions to safeguard your data, meaning you can now browse the internet safely without any stress of someone stealing your personal information. I've also been recently using Surfshark to go onto other sides of YouTube to see what domestic media is saying about their national team. And it's so simple to do, by the way. One click of a button and I could be in Brazil, Germany, even Norway if I wanted to. And this is all thanks to Surfshark's over 4,500 servers in 140 different locations. Surfshark also has some new features this year, including one that detects email scams. So, have I got you excited now? Well, if so, you can use my link display on the video or in the description to get Surfshark for an extra 4 free months. And there's no risk in trying this out because Surfshark has a 30-day money-back guarantee. So use my link, surfshark.com/Mac, to access region-locked content anywhere in the world and keep your private information safe. And a big thank you as always to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. I kinda knew the coverage was gonna be dog shit, especially when Fox announced some of their main members of the broadcast team, including the likes of Stu Holden, who shilled for FIFA hospitality packages in the midst of everyone complaining about FIFA's management of tickets, pricing out everyone not willing to spend $1,000 on nosebleeds. Beyond this, I just fucking hate his voice. He's not even that bad of a color commentator. I just really fucking hate his voice. Then you got former Mexican star Chicharito, who instead of processing a divorce in a healthy way, has decided to become Mexican Andrew Tate instead.
Mujeres están fracasando. Están erradicando la masculinidad, haciendo a la sociedad hipersensible. Encarnen su energía femenina, cuidando, nutriendo, recibiendo, multiplicando, limpiando, sosteniendo el hogar, que es el lugar más preciado para nosotros los hombres. No le tengan miedo a ser mujeres.
Up next, CARLI Lloyd, a legend of the US women's team. She finished her career 3rd all-time in goal scoring for her country, but ever since retiring, she's become the wicked bitch of the East. In 2022, she criticized a random FedEx driver for not placing her packages like 5 inches closer and included this really weird hashtag. And when people called her out for randomly blasting an overworked person, she just whipped out a really tone-deaf response and then later cried wolf when she got even more criticism for that response. During a 2024 Copa America preview, she said this.
There's nobody like Messi, and I don't think that there ever will be somebody like Messi. It's a generational talent. It's like Maradona, and then Messi has just had that crown. But there's other players, Jude Bellingham, you know, Pulisic's coming up. Pulisic.
She also said this after the US's performance versus Paraguay.
No disrespect to you, Bob, coaching the team, but I think that was the best US game I have ever seen the team play.
Which I find very ironic considering she tried to have a go at the anti-Berhalter fans less than a year ago. Oh, and then there was the Women's World Cup in 2023 when she criticized an extremely underwhelming US women's side. And while she had every right to do so, I mean, Megan Rapinoe was celebrating and dancing after just barely making it to the knockouts, her criticisms felt very disingenuous because not once did she ever call out the people abusing the team online when she herself as a former player 100% knows what that's like. In fact, it was later reported reported by FIFPro that 1 in 5 players were subject to discriminatory comments or even threats, with the US women's team being the most targeted due to politicians and other grifter accounts generating massive waves of hate towards them. Another person who actively contributed to this hate campaign was another member of that punditry team in ALEXI LALAS, who was also brought on for the 2026 team. Like CARLI LLOYD, ALEXI LALAS is a former national team player for the US. Oh, you thought there was more? ALEXI LALAS has been doing punditry since 2009, and when it comes to his style, there is barely any actual tactical analysis. Which makes sense because anytime he's actually tried to, he's horribly wrong and just gets into arguments with players that have done so much more for the game than him. And not once has he bothered to improve in this whatsoever, so in the words of my boy Chris from Brazilian Fury, he took the easy way out. By the way, Chris made a very detailed video about ALEXI LALAS, definitely watch that as well. But what's the easy way out exactly? Well, sometimes he talks about mentality, which, yeah, I know, kind of ironic. But the main thing is he just talks a lot of shit, has tons of hot takes, and dumbs down every single conversation he's in.
That when we talk about England, there is an excitement that is associated with England. They are the Dallas Cowboys, okay, of this tournament. Yes,
no,
yes,
we are
they
not.
Yes,
we
you
are
are
not the Dallas Cowboys.
You are the Dallas Cowboys in that as many people hate you as love you, but they all tune in to watch. You are as insufferable as you are talented.
There are so many clips of ALEXI just yapping about whatever the fuck, and the rest of the people who've had the misfortune of working with him are just sitting there silently begging for his spews of stupidity to end. And again, because everyone else has achieved way more in their careers, and he keeps getting shoved down everyone's throats, ALEXI is just pathetically trying so hard to fit in with his loudmouth dumbassery. It's really funny because this man complains about DEI hires quite a bit. He's been a DEI hire pretty much his entire commentary career. Over the years, he's been put on punditry teams featuring Michael Ballack, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Giorgio Chiellini, and this year, Rebecca Lowe is being forced against her will to say she's with legends of the game, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Thierry Henry, ALEXI LALAS.
I thought that was awesome. That was awesome. My nether regions are still vibrating from the bass. My goodness. Wow, that was something. I can feel it up here all over the place.
It's only the afternoon.
This is how pretty much every single Fox broadcast has gone on since like the mid-2010s. There's like maybe 2-3 people having some good conversations, previews, insights, all that kind of stuff. But then all of a sudden, the crazy grabbed off the street says something just completely out of the blue, random, weird, derails everything, and everyone's just left there silently standing, saying nothing. For my fellow NASCAR fans who have been tortured by Fox broadcasts for way too long, this is basically like a worse version of Clint Boyer. This is like a worse version of, warning, spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear any spoilers of The Boys Season 5, skip to this time marker here. This is like when Kimiko from The Boys starts speaking, and because no one was able to write a single good bit of dialogue in Season 5, she was fucking unbearable. This is like when you're just out and about with your friends having a good time, and then all of a sudden this weirdo just pops in, says something edgy or something weird, or just says something about women, I don't know, and it just soils the entire vibe. This is the average Fox broadcast with ALEXI LALAS. Sorry, one more simile. He's like if coworker music was a person. Also, a quick update because it's been a week since the recording. Here's ALEXI being put in his place by Zlatan.
I mean, we had that nice little fun back and forth between Landon and Thierry about whether the French were arrogant in the first half. We can have that discussion, but the reality is that if they are arrogant, it's because they can do things like that. And the patience that they showed after a poor first half to come back and provide a masterful second half with the talent that they have and the big stars showing up, that's pretty special.
Well,
it's not arrogance, it's confidence.
Okay.
Ignorant people would say it's arrogance. Intelligent people would say it's confidence.
Thank you, Zlatan. However, unfortunately, you're not exempt from my criticism with the coverage either. Like, are we seriously doing this gimmick still? The last time I laughed at a Zlatan joke, I was 14. And it wasn't even Zlatan, it was Lord Bentner. This motherfucker is not only an embarrassment to the sport in this country, he's an embarrassment to the entire sport as a whole. And I'm not just talking about his punditry here. Along with ALEXI's many hot takes with no substance whatsoever, he's also one of the most pathetic shills you will ever see. He will willingly go down on his knees for every higher-up like the little bitch he is. Cause see, when ALEXI's on the job, that mouth is messy. 2026 FIFA World Cup will feature 3-minute hydration breaks occurring at the 22-minute mark of each half. For fairness, all games will have hydration breaks regardless of temperature. Yes, this creates quarters and in-game commercial breaks. love it. While everyone was mad about FIFA's alleged manipulation of ticket sales that saw the majority of the world get priced out, ALEXI was out here defending a ticket for Argentina versus Algeria that cost $2,400. Okay, but maybe he isn't actually shilling. Maybe this is just this stupid ass opinion. Oh. Gianni Infantino, 10 years as FIFA president. Expansion, tech, revenue, development, and plenty of slings and arrows along the way. It comes with the territory. Longevity is a Gianni, please, put it in my mouth more. Like all his other Fox compatriots during the 2022 World Cup, ALEXI also ignored every human rights abuse by Qatar, but took it one step further by showcasing to the whole world that he loves getting down on his knees. And that kind of behavior has also continued into the buildup of the current tournament that's happening, with people worried about a multitude of things, like not being able to even watch their team because of travel bans and strict visa nonsense, and also other things like violent, untrained Torta thugs being used as security for the World Cup. I mean, ICE agents, by the way. ALEXI simply just excused all of this as every event having some kind of negativity in the buildup and used Qatar and Russia as examples. He's so pathetic, it's hilarious, man. But that's basically all he did during the build-up. He painted the host United States as victims that could do no wrong. How could people in this country who've been fucked over by this administration root against the US? I just don't get it, man. It's very funny coming from the same guy that excused this very behavior just 2 years ago. In the words of Mexican Andrew Tate, interesante. But when it comes to ALEXI LALAS, there truly is no limit to the shill. When it comes to soccer in the US, ALEXI LALAS encapsulates everything that is holding back this sport in the country. He supports pay to play, and he's also one of the fuckers who uses the question, who's gonna pay for all this free soccer, like a trump card. Buddy, it's not that hard to figure out. Multiple countries that are far more successful than the US have already figured it out. Not to mention, US soccer gets sponsors, you know. US soccer gets annual donors, you know. Another one, for those unaware of the league pyramid in the US, there is none. MLS does not have promotion relegation, and by now, you're probably familiar with the ALEXI LALAS meat writing dynamic. ALEXI has tried to paint himself as a fence-sitter when it comes to promotion relegation being implemented, but look closely at that last sentence. If ProRel is such a game changer, then the customers will flock. He uses this kind of language to excuse the blatant greed of MLS owners who don't want promotion relegation because it wouldn't allow them to maximize their profits and maintain their wealth. But we can go even deeper with this. Before ALEXI tortured anyone with a mic, he was actually a general manager for multiple teams. During his time with the New York, New Jersey Metro Stars, the club lost their identity to conglomerates Red Bull.
So welcome to a new era. Welcome to Red Bull New York.
That was really bad.
When he was with San Jose Earthquakes, he was key to them moving away to Houston for 2 years. And during the hashtag Save the Crew movement in 2017, when fans of Columbus Crew were at risk of losing their club to relocation, ALEXI said this.
Well, JP, this was always going to be messy and complicated and painful, and I do sympathize with the Columbus Crew faithful for their predicament that they are in. But I also believe that a owner of a business, if they believe that they can go to a new location and it's better, that they should be allowed to do that. But when it comes to Anthony Precourt, this is good business for him in terms of what he has orchestrated here. And keep in mind that the MLS ownership allowed this to happen, but there are consequences, JP, to your actions. Anthony Precourt, Don Garber, the MLS owners, you're villains, but you knew that was going to happen. People are going to look at this as a betrayal and as an insult and as a sacrilege, and that's why you have lawsuits against you, but this is of your own making. So, Anthony Precourt, Don Garber, MLS owners, enough. You're selling season tickets for next year while you're introducing a logo in a name in Austin. Rip this Band-Aid and make it official. But before you do that, this is what you should do. You should spend $7 million and buy a USL expansion team and give it to Columbus. Think of it as a parting gift. Think of it as the price for freedom and to get out of that lawsuit. Because right now, this is cruel and unusual punishment. You're postponing the inevitable and you're giving false hope to Columbus. You're taking it from bad to worse. Columbus doesn't deserve this. Actually, nobody deserves this. And while the MLS crew probably can't be saved, JP, let it die with dignity. Let the folks in Columbus mourn the loss of their team and curse those villains.
This is no fence sitter. This is a mouthpiece for MLS that further prevents community to be built beyond what is considered a market. The Hall of Fame meat writing doesn't stop there, though. I guarantee you ALEXI LALAS has dreams of bouncing on that shit crazy style if Donald Trump gave him the opportunity to do so. Yo, maybe I should use the new poll thing on YouTube. Who could do it better? Gianni Infantino or ALEXI LALAS? Beyond all this, though, ALEXI is just a massive hypocrite. You already saw one example Here's another. Back in 2020, when NWSL players kneeled during the national anthem for Black Lives Matter, ALEXI posted this now deleted tweet criticizing the players. And yes, while he does have the freedom to be critical because of the First Amendment, this is what he said 3 years prior.
I'm going to stand, I'm going to put my hand over my heart, and I am going to sing. And I believe that all U.S. national team players should be required to do that, because just because we live in the land of the free doesn't mean that we are free to do anything that we want.
Interesante.
ALEXI LALAS is also probably racist.
I think that it is relative to the unique aspect of the United States. Okay, we oftentimes talk about our diversity, and we talk about it in the fact that it is, you know, one of the advantages that we have, and one of the great things about our country. But with that diversity comes diversity of thought. If I go and ask 100 soccer people out there, what's beautiful soccer? I'm gonna get 100 different answers, and it may be based on ethnicity, where you grew up, even geography, all of these different things. So I've argued that the homogenous nature of some other countries and cultures, just in population, in terms of the size, are much more manageable, and there is a collective understanding, and more importantly, an agreement in this is how we're going to play. But getting 11 men to represent this great country of 350 million people, and all be on the same page, that is very, very difficult.
You know, France won the World Cup in 2018, right, ALEXI? So now you're probably wondering, why the fuck is this guy still getting paired with people who are levels beyond him in terms of knowledge of the game and just commentary experience in general? It's actually simple, really. He embodies everything that's wrong with not just American soccer media, but American sports media as a whole. Over the years, coverage of sports in the US has changed immensely. It's gone from nerdy, witty, and analytical to straight engagement farming. We went from Stuart Scott to Kendrick Perkins. God help us all. But this is mainly because social media algorithms want people talking, and the best way to get people talking is outrage. And that's where ALEXI LALAS comes in. For as much of a horrible person as he is, he's also a massive troll. And he's pretty good at it too. Take the time he recently called James Corden a full kit wanker on national television. This clip blew up.
Oh, I mean, what do you guys call him? Full kit wanker, right? Or whatever. He's wearing that thing. He's all dressed up and ready to go. You did dress so well.
And there's other clips that have been making the rounds that Fox have personally posted because they know how much people hate this guy, and that's enough for them. Another example is ALEXI's top 10 World Cup fan base. He put the US at third. That motherfucker does not believe that for 1 second. But because of all these other bad takes that he's had, people just know him as the bad takes guy. And they want to see how bad the next one is. This is why he's being constantly shoved down people's throats. Because this is what American sports media is now. It's a sad reality, but that's what it is. What's kind of funny though is that this isn't even the worst thing about the Fox coverage. There's this late night World Cup show that is being hosted currently by James Corden. Let me say that again. James Corden. Fox knows exactly what it's doing. Anyways, moral of the story, if you're in the States, just watch the Spanish broadcast. Just watch Telemundo, okay? Save yourself the energy, save yourself the anger, okay? You don't need to do this to yourself. I'm doing this to myself because I genuinely hate Fox, and I want to show the entire world how much I hate Fox. But you don't have to do this to yourself. Watch Telemundo. Use Duolingo, learn Spanish. Watch Telemundo. But what do you guys think? Is ALEXI LALAS God? I don't even know what to say. By the way, there will be more World Cup videos. There is going to be a group stage review, I promise you that. And there will also be a kit review at some point. I don't know about this month, maybe next. I'm sorry, I'm a bit late on this. You can blame Real Madrid and Arsenal for this. But of course though, a massive shout out to all our members, including Janos Balas, MI before Janos Balas, German Sayu 7, Jeremiah Owusu Ajaman, Hypernova, Django, Andazir Makalankam, Alex Rod, Kentra Gatra, Saint Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Cheesebait, Winder Gel, Finn Likes Rugby More, Davox, Supporter Geyser, Wise Orange, Polar Protos, Unfunny, A Ghostly Owl, Coney Wolves, Leakstab, Mutanai, Apollo, Thrilling ADT 13, Los Milos, Le James Braun, Vecino, Napside, Money Cash Host, Quantavious Pork, Lilia Lover, Student Monk, Red Yellow, Fuxi, MXN, Harry Maguire's Love Toenail, Flaquito, Thierry's Thoughts, Julian Alvarez Glazer 7, Barca Blanco, Mark GB, Archangel 64, Chuck is Dead Viac, Somir, Dizzy, Kev C, Dominic Griffin, Kyler Krebs, Mohammed Altanib, Nish, Patrick Barley, Rashford God 5, Raspberry Ale, and Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to become a member on the channel, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. Also, by the way, please do not donate to the Patreon. use the channel members, the Patreon. I'm not using that anymore. You can follow me on Twitter if you want, follow me on Instagram if you like, follow my Twitch. I'll be doing some watch-alongs. I'll notify you guys more about that when it happens. But until then, fuck Fox Sports. I'll see you guys. Women kitchen. Why aren't women in the kitchen anymore? Interessante. Okay, that was that.